hate the concept of, you know, another club sandwich and living out of a suitcase for a year at a time, especially this, you know, 30 years later. But then I get there and I go, oh, this is why we do it.
Yeah.
The rest of the hours still stink, but those 3 hours are pretty great.
We've got some fun facts about your tour. 6 weeks to build the stage, 19,500 hours to manufacture the stage set and hexagon wall, 1,000 road cases to transport equipment, lighting gear, and wardrobes, 400+ cups of coffee, meals a day for the crew and staff. I mean, it is an enormous task, isn't it?
There's hundreds of people employed for periods of time. You know, for a year at a time, we keep the economy moving. And,
yeah.
It's
now,
a lot.
Do you see yourself, Jon,
millions of people.
Do you see yourself doing this for forever, do you think? I mean, or are you going to get to a point where...
The day that I'm the Fat Elvis and hawking the hits of the 80s, it's over. We're not doing the reunion tour.
Well, as you pointed out, you started off the tour at the Mohegan Sun, right?
Yeah, there was a warm-up.
2,000 snowed-in fans and employees, and at the time you invited a 16-year-old girl up on stage.
Good job.
As if you weren't the envy of every Bon Jovi fan on the planet. You get to be in the front row today. What was that like, Morgan? Was that fun?
It was so amazing. It was so beyond words, really. I want to do it again.
Was your heart, like, was he coming towards you, or how did it happen?
Oh, no.
Well, he looked one way, and then I was like, maybe he's not going to come. And then he looked my way, and I was like, wait, is this really happening? And then I was like, oh my God. And then, oh my God, it was just like, it was like off the charts. That was awesome.
That's how she was on the
awesome.
inside. But my recollection's a little different, because on the outside, she's like... That's the truth. I'm singing, and I have to keep looking like this because Morgan's running all around behind us, working the crowd. So then I'm watching them down there in the front row, and I know what we've just done, you know, and I'm up there singing away, and I look down. The two of them are, like, looking at their pictures. I see all this. I'm still performing. I'm looking down at them, and she's approving pictures as it's going, yep, no, yep. That's my button.
Now, I know you touch on some pretty important social issues on your new CD. Tell me about what inspires your songwriting just in general, and what in particular with this CD?
It addresses the consolidation of the workforce in America. It addresses social activism, people who need to be involved, because in this day and age we came to the realization that the president, regardless of your politics, is not the savior. He's a man. He's a hard-working man, but a man nonetheless. And in truth and in reality, government can't do it alone. The private sector can't do it alone. But the collective we are the only way that we're going to roll this, you know, rock up the hill and get through this. So I had to address those subjects. And even in doing so, I've tried to make it a point of the messages remaining timeless. Because if you're lucky, you're going to sing those songs in 10 and 20 and 30 years.
You talked about acting earlier, Jon. Are you still drawn to taking part in roles and being in the movies or being on television shows?
No, it was a really important part of my growing up. It was 20 years ago that I first took an acting lesson after I wrote the soundtrack to a movie called Young Guns. And it was my way of getting hands on more scripts to write more songs. But what it did was open me up to another facet of the arts that I wasn't knowledgeable of.
I guess your most recent role was in New Year's Eve, which was in 2011. Yeah. And there's one very memorable scene.
I had no desire to be in a movie or that movie. I get a phone call, and they said, "You've been offered a movie." It's my old agent. He says, "Just want you to know you've been offered a film." Yeah. And you get to make out with Halle Berry. I went, "Really?" This is cool. You got my attention. Keep going. So anyhow, you know, I didn't get to make out with Halle Berry, and I ended up getting slapped like 4 or 5 times by Katherine Heigl.
I think you should do a little more acting, because I think you're great. I loved you in Sex and the City. No? You're done? Put a fork in you, you're done?
I guess if the right knock on the door came, but it would have to be a lot, because I'm just too excited about the band and other things I've got going on in my life to